A familiar director is back here in the final cut today with their film called The Dark Days of Demetrius, written and directed by Dakota Ray. And here we have the story of three crazy individuals trying to outdo themselves. We have a psychopathic serial killer who is doing mean and nasty things to individuals. We have a media online news reporter who is really got no scruples whatsoever and is doing anything he can to get the inside scoop, even if he has to make that scoop himself. And then we have someone who is idolizing our serial killer, Demetrius, but thinks he can do it better. And we see how all of these play out in The Dark Days of Demetrius. Dakota Ray bringing us this nihilistic film as he does in the past with his unique style, and let me tell you, I have enjoyed so much watching these films from him and seeing them develop and change over the course of time. And this one, I will say, is really solid. Namely, we've got a really solid linear story here, more so than what we've had in the past, which is a little bit more fluid, a little bit more surreal. And here, this plays out very nicely and very tidy for those who like a more linear storyline. I like both, but here definitely he has more of a straightforward story, which isn't a bad thing at all. It was just interesting to see him to take this approach. Now, as far as the story goes, I loved how he plays with the Demetrius character. This is a disturbed character. You feel that disturbed feeling come across on screen, but then you get these other characters involved and you realize, is Demetrius really the worst one in this world that Dakota Ray has painted for us? Or is it the media guy who really wants that story, including making his own story possibly sometimes? You know, I mean, this guy does some really skeevy stuff as well, and it makes you wonder, well, now is the media, are they worse than the actual criminal, and then the copycat criminal as well that we have in here? Demetrius is played by Dakota Ray, and I really loved the performance here. Very emotional, very creepy, very nerve-wracking at times. You know, I loved how he brings his color style too, because people will see color used and immediately think, oh, giallo, or giallo, you know, but no, he does use the color, especially in here, effectively for our different characters. And it helped you characterize where you were in the story, who you were trying to focus on, or who was involved in that scene, and it just gave them, it just added to their characteristics as well. Dakota Ray really has used color effectively in all of his films, whether or not it's a color green or the blue, or in here blue and red as well, you know. And I like that. It's not him trying to be like an Italian director. He's got his own style to it. So there is that. Performances by all are great. Fred Epstein plays Clive. We've seen Fred in other Dakota Ray films like Acid Sorcerer and American Scumbag. Sebastian Oak playing the Baphomut character. He's just as creepy, though he is a different person than Demetrius. He's got a different approach to things. And yeah, there's also social commentary in here about media, how they hype up criminals. Who is the worst, the criminal or the ones who feed off of what the criminal does? So there's a lot of those themes running underneath this film that still has that nihilistic tone to it and the dark tone. So it's not going to be for everyone. This is some true art, dark underground cinema that is made really for those who are fans of Dakota Ray and those looking for something different and don't mind a bit of extremeness to their film. There is some really graphic nudity in here, so there's some warning there for those of you who don't like that. I do like the gore effects that we do get in here, what effects we do have, and yeah, overall, this is another solid film from Dakota Ray. I just think he's improving as he's going along, and I think if you have watched his other films, you will agree as well. And maybe you don't. Either way, please leave your comments down below. Love to hear your constructive thoughts on the Dakota Ray films, and especially The Dark Days of Demetrius. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Check out our Patreon as well. I thank you for your support, and until next time, remember, keep that ticket stub.